National Guard personnel shot at 2:15 on Wednesday. At 2:20, politicians were already looking for cameras to point fingers. Treasury vows to tighten tax rules for illegal immigrants. Well, that's good. We'll save enough money that we can just do another renovation on the side of the White House. Black Friday crowds were massive, but the deals, they were tiny. Hey, this sounds like Congress. That and so much more on this week's episode of Teed Off. Hey there, folks, and welcome to this episode of Teed Off. I'm your host, James, at the Back Nine Life Studios, where we get into the news of the week as I see it, with no filter, no fluff, and as always, no political affiliations. I'm not going to get into either side on these sort of things, especially with some of the topics I have today. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. I had a good holiday myself. I enjoyed it. My family's kind of spread across the country. Brothers out on the West Coast, sisters out on the East Coast. I'm kind of in the middle with my parents. They actually made Italian beef on the day of, and it was pretty good too. Let's get into the comment of the week. All right, our comment of the week comes from Travis Thompson, 539, and he's given this about how we could feed the country more if grocery stores gave stuff away more and didn't waste as much in restaurants and whatnot. So Travis says, until the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of places like restaurants, bakeries, and grocery stores would give daily leftovers or stuff about to expire to places like soup kitchens, homeless shelters. But then people started suing these places, donating day-olds and such, claiming it was wrong to give them leftovers, and some claimed it made them sick. So greed caused food to go to waste. You're not wrong, Travis. You really are not. I can't blame the grocery stores and the restaurants for not doing it. They are already taking a hit from losing money by not selling the food, and then they just try to do something right, and some bad individuals will go and try to sue. And we live in a country where you can sue somebody for anything. You don't even have to have an excuse. You just go to the courthouse and you can just sue. Doesn't mean you can win, but you can sue. If you want to fight instead of settle, you got to go through 14 different hearings and just to be heard, and for a verdict to finally come down, a judgment to finally come down. And so you got to pay a lawyer that whole time. It's the judicial system. Make lawyers richer. That's the way I see it. And use the American public as an ATM. But thank you for your comment. Please leave some more. If you want your comment put on the air, you got to leave one. All right, the first topic, the National Guard thing. I hate whenever these things happen. I don't think anybody is not aware at this point, but there was 2 National Guard personnel shot 2 blocks from the White House on Wednesday at 2:15 in the afternoon. It was Sarah Beckstrom, who died on Thanksgiving, and then Andrew Wolf. He's still in critical condition as of the time of me doing this podcast. There's a lot of finger pointing on this one because they were actually shot ambush style by a person who was in a resettlement program from the Afghanistan war. So in 2021, Biden resettled him here, and I guess he resettled out into Washington State. So everybody's saying, well, it's Biden's fault for this shooting. No, it's not. The only person whose fault it is the person who did the shooting. And this guy drove all the way from Washington State to Washington, D.C. just to specifically target these individuals for some reason. Now, they're also saying that Trump's to blame because he's deployed the National Guard in Washington, D.C. to stop crime. Like I said, it's not Trump's fault, it's not Biden's fault, it's not anybody's fault except for the shooter. It's not the gun's fault, it's the shooter's fault. It's a tragic, tragic event, but it is the shooter's fault. He is to blame for all of it. And he got shot, but he hasn't died. He's still in the hospital, I think, so he'll get his day of justice. Let's get into the Back Nine loving. All right, folks, welcome to the Back Nine Loving, where dating after 40 is complicated enough without having a financial advisor and a fraud department. This week's trend, romance scammers, and not the old school kind. Oh, no. These new ones, They text you all day long like they're applying to be Employee of the Month. Oh yeah, they start off sweet. They send you a little text with the how's your day going? Good morning with a little sunshine emoji. What's your favorite movie with a little popcorn emoji? And you think, wow, hey, somebody's actually interested. Then about a weekend, they hit the plot twist. Hey, have you ever thought about investing in crypto? That's when you know you have exchanged Cupid in the chat with Coinbase. And these scammers, they're smooth. They'll pretend to be into your routines, your hobbies, they'll be into your stories, getting into all of it with you. They'll be into everything, all while waiting to slide you a chart that looks like a toddler drew it with a crayon. So if you are out there dating in the backside, trust your instincts more than your desperation. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and types like a duck, guess what? It's not a swan. I'm not saying go into dating jaded, but I'm saying stay frosty and keep your head on a swivel. All right, number 2. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says department working to cut federal tax benefits for illegal immigrants. Yeah, the Treasury's vowing to tighten tax rules. I mean, these guys don't even know how to tighten their own budget whenever it comes down to it. Treasury can't even figure out last year's software updates. Weren't they they were the ones that had a problem with kicking checks out because of some software update, weren't they? I think they were. It was the Treasury Department. This Scott Bessent, he started off, he made a ton of money for George Soros over about 30 years working at his fund, and then he started up his own fund. He ran a hedge fund. And immediately we think of hedge funds as bad people. They manipulate things. They look for downturns that they make money on, and they prey on people. I don't think he knows that much about the economy. I think he probably knows a lot about the stock market and how to trade, but I don't think he knows how to run an entire economy. It's just my personal opinion, just from hearing what I hear him talking about. Every one of these guys in office, Trump, all these people that have been invested in businesses and things like that, they have all benefited from illegal immigration their entire lives. Everything they've been invested in. There have been illegal immigrants building up these businesses for them. Trump, of course, employed tons of illegal immigrants to build his buildings and stuff. I mean, so they have benefited from all this. And all these illegal immigrants they're talking about, they pay taxes. They should get benefits if they pay taxes. You'll take their tax money, but you will not give them the same benefits as other people? I mean, come on, give me a break. If they're trying to avoid taxes, or if they're criminals, or if they're anything like that, yeah, get rid of them. They should have never been here in the first place. You're right. Their kids were born here and they weren't, and you're trying to take their kids away and all that good stuff. I don't know all that's going on with this. I do know that I've been down around the border before, and I've never seen it that complicated for people to get in if they really wanted to get in. I mean, if people are hardworking and productive, just let them get the benefits that they need to. But yes, they should become citizens, don't get me wrong. They should be on a path to citizenship. We can't live without immigrant workforces. As a country, we have never been able to do that. We started off with slaves, which they would have just been immigrants back then if it wouldn't have been actual slavery. We've always needed a workforce of immigrants, and we always will. One more thing about the Treasury Department. I was thinking about this, and I'll get into it in the next one. I'll get into it with the next one because it actually kind of relates to it. Let's get into the Nostalgic News Minute. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm James Roberts, coming to you from the news desk with an update on what might be the biggest phenomenon of the year. Across America tonight, children and many brave adults are spinning, twirling, and wobbling themselves into the latest sensation, the hula hoop. Toy stores from coast to coast are reporting that shelves are being cleared within minutes of restocking. In some cities, lines have stretched down the block as shoppers eagerly await to bring home what many are calling the must-have item of 1958. Reports from our Los Angeles affiliate describe impromptu neighborhood competitions with some participants managing to keep the hoop spinning for an astonishing 5 minutes. Gee whiz, that is something. We'll continue to monitor America's spinning frenzy as it develops. For now, I'm James Roberts at the newsroom, reminding our viewers to stretch before any ambitious revolutions. Good night. How y'all doing? Y'all having fun? Good. Well, go ahead and hit subscribe now then. Leave a comment and hit subscribe. Want to hear them. Want to hear them. I need comments for the comment of the week thing. That's why I started doing this, so I need some comments, guys. Number 3, Trump launches Genesis mission to supercharge AI innovation. Trump launching an AI program. Feels like a toddler being given a flamethrower and be told to be careful, doesn't it? It sure does. What this program is doing too is this is the craziest thing to me. What he's doing is he wrote an executive order to tell national labs and the energy department to start giving data to all these private companies. Well, the private company in itself is probably Palantir, but give all the data that they have to this private company so it can start with its AI processing to get everything to be able to streamline scientific improvements and biotech improvements and energy improvements and things like that. And this is just crazy to me that you're going to give all your data on your energy infrastructure and your national laboratories to this private company and let them just handle it. You can't even, can everybody else not see what these AI companies are trying to do? They're trying to get themselves to where they are literally too big to fail. They're going to get tied so much into the government that whenever they are broke and they can't get themselves out of it and they need more investment dollars, they're going to backstop with the U.S. government, just like the banks did, just like the airlines did, just like the car companies did. They're going to say we're too big to fail, we're too tied in, and Trump is just letting them come right in the door. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who created ChatGPT, has already said in an interview, he slipped up and has already said it. He said, well, whenever it comes down to it, we can look at governments as being the last insurer, because he's already committed. He committed something like, man, what was it, $5 trillion or whatever? I don't know the exact numbers, but we'll call it $5 trillion. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments, because I know that I'm just kind of spitballing off my head here. In the interview, he committed his company, OpenAI, to invest $5 trillion over the next 5 years, I think, in developing AI systems. Now, the big problem is OpenAI is a private company, so I don't really know for sure, but we do have some sort of idea that they only make like $15 billion in revenue a year. That's in revenue. That's not profit. That's not cash on hand. Where are you getting the $5 trillion? And essentially this reporter asked Sam Altman that, and he was talking about all of a sudden that the insurer of last resort could always be the government. This was a good reporter. He asked him, he's like, are you saying that you're looking for a bailout from the federal government? And Sam Altman backed up real quick. He said, wait a minute, time out. No. I wasn't saying that we're looking for a bailout from the taxpayers just yet. But that's what they're doing. That's what's all is going to happen here, is that they're dedicating these trillions of dollars into AI infrastructures and things, and they don't have the money for it. And whenever it comes down to it, they're going to get so wrapped into the system that they'll be too big to fail, and we will have to bail these guys out. We'll have to bail this AI bubble out instead of them just slowing down and growing at the pace that they really should grow to make this technology really work. I mean, if you don't see that, that's beyond me. I mean, this is just plain as day to me what is going on. I'm seeing all this money get put into this, but the money being put in is also coming from NVIDIA, giving it to OpenAI, and then they're committing to buy chips from NVIDIA with the money that NVIDIA gave them. It all seems wacky to me, and it all seems like it's looking like the government is just playing along into it. Well, if this bubble pops, it's like, how is this going to be fixed? The Federal Reserve isn't going to be able to lower interest rates like they did before, because we still have our inflation problem. So I was like, how is this going to get fixed? And then I looked at gold, and gold rising to all-time highs all the time, going up. I mean, gold doesn't move like it's moved in the last year and a half. It really doesn't. That and silver, they do not move like that. I finally understood what it is that the Treasury Department, whenever there's a next downturn, they have their gold valued at $42 and something, $42.14 or something. All they have to do is revalue that up. It's just like injecting more money into the economy. But you have to do it in such a way that you don't kill the American dollar's value. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of this with you guys, but this is something I find very fascinating. Whenever there gets to be a downturn and there's going to be stimulus need to be pumped back into the economy, it's going to come from the Treasury. It's going to come from them revaluing that gold, and the amount of gold we had, if they revalue it from $42 up to, say, 1,000 times at $42,000, it would be exactly like an $11 trillion injection into the economy. Now, that would probably kill the dollar if you went that high. They can still get it up to 9,000, 10,000. per ounce, that would be just fine. That would work, actually. And I think they know it. Central banks obviously know it because that's what's driving a lot of this gold buying. The biggest problem with you as an investor, if you're thinking about buying gold, even at $4,000, because like I said, if it gets revalued at $10,000, that means the gold you have is at $10,000 then. But there's a caveat here. The government is not going to let you have that. I guarantee you they will have a windfall tax of about 85% on the gains of your precious metals at that point. And you wouldn't be able to sell on the black market either because there would be a digital transaction record that has to go on with the sale of precious metals. So if your bank, if you put that money into your bank, if you sold to an individual instead of a dealer, they would report that transaction immediately. And there's no way you get around it, and they'd threaten you with jail. We confiscated gold back in the 1930s. We'll confiscate it again. That's the way that's going to go down. I promise you, promise you, promise you. Mark my words. All right. What's next? Oh, let's get into the hat trick. If your phone's speaker is too quiet, drop it into a cereal bowl. Boom! Instant volume boost. That's what we call high tech around my house. Stop losing socks in the dryer already. Go get yourself a mesh bag and throw them all in there before you do the washing and the drying. You're welcome. Stuck zipper, rub a little chapstick or a candle onto the teeth. Easy peasy. And nothing says I'm an adult like fixing your coat with lip balm. That's your hack trick for this week. We may not be able to fix life, but we can always duct tape it together. All right, final one. I'm trying not to run long here, but I'm kind of bumbling around here tonight. Black Friday, under pressure, big crowds, smaller wallets, and changing holiday retail mood. Inflation's starting to bite some of the consumers. I'm guessing tariffs are starting to bite the deal makers too. There's not as many deals going on, but there's a lot of people out there, and I guess, Black Friday used to be a sport like a cardio thing where you'd fight each other and you beat each other up, and now it's kind of like a support group. It's just like, hey, I'm Linda and I just spent $200 that I don't have. Help me. I don't know how we've held on this long, but we did inject a lot of money into the system during COVID. Looking back, it's just unimaginable how much money we pumped into this thing during that time, and it's gone. I don't think I've ever been shopping on a Black Friday. I rarely go shopping anyway. I'm one of those guys that I buy a pair of shoes and I wear them for 10 years until my toes are sticking out the end. I don't replace my tires until I see air. I'm a very frugal guy. That's why, I kind of work at the pace I want to work or do the things I want to do a lot. I curb my expenses. Know that people go shopping at this time of year and they spend too much. And I do know that our credit card debt is at all-time highs. I do know that obviously our government debt is at all-time highs. I know that everybody's starting to have a little bit of problems with certain things as far as their expenses go. I mean, you can feel it. It's the lower half that is really feeling it more than the upper half. I have friends that make a ton of money and they're doing great. They're still going on trips. They're still living the life. This wealth gap, it just continues to grow. And that is nothing but a big powder keg. This thing's just moving in the wrong direction. You're just moving in the wrong direction. All right, I'm going to be done with this. We've rambled on long enough with this episode. It was a tough one for me to get into this week because I did this Thanksgiving special on Thursday, and I wasn't done cutting it until about 5 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday night. Then I'm turning right back around and try to get this one out by Sunday. But I enjoy doing it. All right, I'm going. Bye.